Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. All right, so I've been at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama. Again, this is why the background looks like this. Let me pick up my phone here. And I have had some players who, because of being at the Senior Bowl, they have popped onto my radar that might have not popped onto my radar if I hadn't gone there. And remember, the Senior Bowl is incredibly important for the Cleveland Browns because every year the Browns take like 2 or 3 guys from the Senior Bowl, and that's when they didn't have first-round picks. Now that they have first-round picks, yes, they're going to take players from this Senior Bowl. So a bunch of players, more than 5. I don't know why I titled the video that. I got like 12, 15 names here. So more than 5 players that I think the Browns should have on their radar after being at the Senior Bowl. Ollie Gordon II, he is probably the least of the receiving type backs that I'm going to mention. He's probably the guy that's least likely to be a receiving back of the running backs I'm going to mention. But Ollie Gordon is just a big body. He's built like Todd Gurley. Shout out to Trayshawn. He gave me that kind of analogy there. But yeah, Todd Gurley, he reminds me of Todd, at least physically. He's not as fast as Todd. He just doesn't have that top gear, but he's a good running back. Good vision, good ability to cut, good feet, quick feet, right? Quickness, has that burst. He just doesn't have that breakaway speed that you would like in the NFL, but he is definitely somebody who can give you everything else. I think he has potential as a receiving back because of that quickness. He just looked uncomfortable doing those kind of drills at the Senior Bowl these last couple of days, but I think if you really train him up, you get him to kind of cut out some of these extra steps that he takes in his routes, he will run crisper routes, rely on his quickness and his strength, and he'll be able to get open. I think he can get separation in the NFL as a receiver. So I don't think that you should undercount that part of his game because everything's fine with him speed-wise until he has to run for more than 10 yards. RJ Harvey, I was worried about RJ Harvey because he was listed at such a small size. But you get eyes on RJ Harvey, and he doesn't look out of place in an NFL running back room. His tape is phenomenal. I mean, he is one of the best running backs in the country in college football at UCF. You're seeing him here. I mean, every single receiving drill he's done, he's cooked guys. He has soft hands, really good football player. Brashard Smith is somebody I didn't really have on my radar out of SMU. Soft hands, silky smooth route runner. And a pretty polished runner here too. The issue with Brashard is he's a little bit thinner than the other guys I mentioned, like RJ Harvey definitely has that NFL bulk to him. Ollie Gordon II most definitely has that NFL bulk to him. Like both those guys aren't going to have to gain weight to be in the NFL running back room. Brashard Smith, he's a little bit thinner, right? He's kind of built a bit like Jerome Ford, but like a little bit smaller than Jerome, but good vision. Really smooth route runner, silky smooth, and then soft hands there. Trevor Etienne from Georgia, who's kind of been falling under the radar, right? People kind of not been talking much about Trevor Etienne, is popular as a college football player he was. And I think he's had a really good couple of days here at the Senior Bowl. I wouldn't expect him to go much higher than people are anticipating. The receiving skills are real with him. He is a great athlete, a good runner at the football. I think you're going to see more from Trevor, and he really impressed me as somebody who I had at the later part of my running back rankings earlier. I think he's going to move up that list. Let's talk about tackles. Emory Jones from LSU. This is a guy that the tape was super bad on in 2024. He came into the season as one of the top tackles. Now he's not, but definitely somebody who I think is rising up those boards with a pretty strong performance at the Senior Bowl. Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M and HBCU. He is one of those small school guys that need the Senior Bowl the most, right? You get these reps versus some of the biggest name players from some of the biggest schools. I think that's really helped him. I think I had JP on. JP Acosta thinks that you can develop this guy to be a starting tackle eventually. He'd definitely be a fun project. Somebody keep your eye on. The Alabama A&M tackle, Carson Vincent, definitely somebody to think about. Alti Trapulo out of Boston College. I don't know what position he plays ultimately, but he's been playing a lot of tackle at the Senior Bowl. Really good mover. They had these run drills earlier where they're doing 11 on 11 run plays, and he was getting out there pulling from the tackle position really well. Think about that if you're a Browns fan, right? These tackles who can get out and block. I saw Jackson, not Jackson. I saw Josh Connerly Jr. He was another guy that I thought moved pretty well, but we knew that Josh was good. He didn't raise his stock because I've been pretty high on Josh. But you want these tackles who can get out in space and move things, because that's the one thing the Browns really need with their run game is these tackles who can get out there and move. Logan Brown is an interior offensive lineman from Kansas. I thought he had a pretty damn good day the last 2 days. He keeps popping up. Wasn't looking for him at all. Wasn't checking for a Kansas helmet. But, going into day 3, I'm definitely going to check for Logan Brown because he's been pretty damn good. Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. This is somebody I had no idea what to make of. Really wanted to wait to the Senior Bowl to have an opinion of Gray, and I'm glad I did. This dude is good. The first 2 days of the Senior Bowl, my man has showed that he has a great ability to recover. He's creative. When he does have to recover, good feet. He can move with guys, chop it up side to side. He's really athletic. I like him. I don't know where he settles in the interior offensive line, but I would draft him if I were the Browns to play center. I feel pretty good about it, to be honest with you. He's a pretty good prospect here. So really love what I've seen from Gray, North Dakota State product. He plays tackle right now at North Dakota. Well, he played tackle at North Dakota State. He's going to play interior. I think he could be a center because he can move pretty well, right? And he's creative. And I think those are two things that you need as a center, is to move pretty well, be creative. So having that, I think, is a big deal for Gray. Josh Farmer, an interior defensive tackle, we're number 5 at the Senior Bowl out of Florida State. He's just been all over the place when you've been watching Florida State. Well, when you've been watching these defensive linemen play, he's been winning a lot. Omar Norman Lott is another guy who's been winning a lot down here in Mobile. And then you look at edges. Ja Joyner, Minnesota, did not have him on my radar. He's definitely somebody I would peek at in the later rounds. Long edge rusher. I think he uses his hands well, has a nice little interior spin move. Pretty intriguing player with a lot of tools to be excited about if you get him later. Mike Green. Now this is not like some undiscovered gem. Mike Green's going to be a first-round pick and probably a top 10 pick. But yeah, coming in, he had a lot of questions coming out of Marshall, playing in the Sun Belt. You want to see him do a lot of the things he did not do versus some of his bigger opponents. And yeah, man, he's been probably the most impressive athlete at the Senior Bowl. We know he's a good athlete. We know he can move around, run around, do all those things. The question with him was, can he convert speed to power? And in one of these plays, he just decleats the best tackle that I think's here for the Senior Bowl, in Josh Connerly Jr., and he decleats him. Like, he takes him literally off his feet. And yeah, that's a damn good player right there. Now, I wouldn't start getting ideas of drafting him where the Browns are picking at 2. But if you do trade back, you might want to consider somebody like Mike Green or, some of these other players that we've been talking about. Now, while editing this video, I just realized that I never talked about the quarterback position. That is for a very specific reason. I have been watching the quarterbacks. I'll talk about those in a different video. I'm going to give it one more day because I'm recording this at the end of day 2. I'll give it one more day before I have my take on the quarterbacks because I want to give them a fair chance. The other positions I didn't really get to talk much about, right? Safety, cornerback, wide receiver. Look, I'm only one person. I only have one set of eyes, 2 eyes, one set. So I've been saving my in-person time for more of the physical stuff, right? Because I feel like you have a harder time gauging that on video. So I'm going to go back, look at all the tape of the wide receiver DB stuff and the safety stuff, later on the tight end drill stuff, because I haven't been able to kind of pay attention to that. So if you're wondering if your favorite tight end, your favorite safety, your favorite Senior Bowl corner, your favorite Senior Bowl wide receiver, why they're not a person that I mentioned in this video, it is not because I think they're playing poorly or that I don't think they adjusted their stock. I think it's more or less because I haven't been able to really watch them in a way that I feel comfortable giving an opinion on. But yeah, back to me recording this video, Quincy, throughout this process, because, the Browns could trade back. I don't think they will, but I think they could. It's possible. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Who are the players, if you've been able to watch some of the tape on the Senior Bowl? I know I put a video up of one of the days. I'm hoping to put at least day 2 and day 3 video of some of the drills there from an all 22 perspective on YouTube. So if you watch that, who do you like from the Senior Bowl? Y'all have a great day. Have even better night. Peace.